What's up, guys? Kevin Thomas, John Epps here for Moving the Chains. Tonight we have our single A, double A, and triple A playoff preview show. We've got our big boys, the 4 and 5A, coming on Thursday of this week. John, I know we say this every year, but this is one of our favorite and most fun shows to do.
Yeah.
I just love this. You know, I've been doing some research all day. I know you have too, trying to get some information on some of these teams that, we may not have seen or don't know a lot about. But I think we've got a pretty good show put together for you guys. John, did you have fun doing this? I know I certainly did.
I had fun just putting the brackets together. I did that last night, and just seeing the matchups and seeing some schools that not normally seen in the playoffs, and also really cool seeing some schools in 3A you don't normally see in 3A. Some schools in 2A you don't normally see in 2A. So yeah, it was a lot of. I had a blast last night just doing it.
Yeah, and one thing that you guys are going to notice here as we go through this is that, in some of these classifications, maybe a 1A or a 2A, you saw some kind of sleeper first-round games that were just kind of really boring because there wasn't a ton of depth as far as quality teams. This year, with the shortened playoffs, only 2 from each region. If you get at-large, maybe 3. You're going to see a lot of really good games as soon as the first round this Friday night.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's get it kicked off, guys. Once again, Kevin Thomas, John Epps on Moving the Chains. If you're watching on Facebook, really appreciate it. Moving the Chains SC. Retweet, share it, comment, like, hit the little heart button there. Tell all your friends. We haven't seen anybody else doing playoff preview shows, but I think we kind of got a monopoly on this right now.
Yeah, at least the first one, I think.
That's right. We're also on Twitter, Moving Chains, Instagram, Moving Chains on Instagram. YouTube, we have a page there. We also do an audio-only version on podcasts, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. But let's get it going here, John, in the 1A ranks. I'm going to run through the bracket here. I'm going to pull this up here. We're going to go through the bracket, go through some records for everybody, and we'll kind of make some predictions here. In the upper state, Southside Christian is the one seed out of Region 1 at 5-0. They're playing C.A. Johnson in round 1, John. The 2 seed out of Region 2 at 4-1. Who do you like in this matchup?
This is a matchup where I like Southside in this game, but how you were just saying, this is Southside is my maybe at least my favorite in this side of the bracket. But this is going to be a tough game. This is going to be a tough game for C.A. Johnson. C.A. Johnson, they're 4-1, and that one loss that they have is a 50. Let me make sure I got this right. A 50-44 loss
in overtime.
Lamar
In overtime too.
So that's pretty impressive. They've had a really good season. Typically a basketball school. I think they're going to give Southside all they want. I think Southside's a little bit better team here. But it's going to be a really, really good 1A game.
And this is a game, both of these teams are dropping down from 2A last year. So, they're coming down to the 1A rank for the first year. Southside Christian lost a lot. They were one of our favorites, last year in 2A with the Hurstburg kid, the Pinckney kid at running back. They lost those guys. They've got a QB, Martin, the running back, Goldsmith, kind of leading their offense. They've got a really strong defensive line. C.A. Johnson's kind of a younger team, only 5 seniors. Like I said, their only loss is to Lamar. This is going to be a whale of a ball game, John. I'm not sure who I want to pick in this. I think Southside Christian's team is kind of skated. We haven't talked a lot about because I feel like their 1A region is not as strong as some others. They might not have played as tough of a schedule as some of these other teams do, but that's going to be a great ball game. I'm going to hold off my pick for a little bit here, but we'll definitely get back into it here in a second. Our next matchups here, we have a Blackville Hilda team. They are the 1 seed out of Region 3 at 7-0. They're playing Whitmire, an at-large team at 3-2. Under that, we've got Lamar, the number 1 seed out of Region 2 at 4-1, playing an at-large team Williston Elko. And then to finish off the upstate, we have Wagner Sally, the 2 seed out of Region 3, playing McCormick, the 2 seed out of Region 1 at 5-1. John, what are some, first thoughts on some of those matchups there, whether it's Blackville Hilda, Whitmire, Lamar, Williston Elko, or Wagner Sally, McCormick?
Yeah, I like Blackville Hilda. They're a team, a rare team that has gotten to play a lot of football this year. They have played 7 games this year, won all of them.
Yep.
I think Whitmire's had a pretty good season. They're in that South Side region. They've had a pretty good year, but their last game, they just got blown out by Southside.
Yep.
Just not competitive at all. And I think Blackville Hilda is just too strong of a team.
Blackville Hilda, that defense allowing about 10 points per game. That's really strong there. The QB Davis, running back Buckman, running back Smith really lead their rushing attack there for those guys. They beat a Barnwell team just a couple weeks ago for my team of the week, actually. I believe they've had a really good season. Then Whitmire, led by the senior quarterback Stanley, senior running back Crumley. They've got some talent there, but I don't think they have enough to beat Blackville Hilda. I think Blackville Hilda is going to take that victory there, John. As we look at the Lamar Williston Elko game, Lamar, QB Tyler McManus, running back Johnson lead that offense. Really a rushing attack there. Not many yards through the air in that game. Williston Elko is kind of a sneaky good team, John. Yeah, I was looking back at some of their games. They lost pretty big to Blackville Hilda, but they actually had the lead with about 9 minutes to go. Ended up giving up like 21 straight points like that at the end of the game. So they have some talent there. I don't know if they've got enough to beat Lamar, but I don't think it's going to be quite the pushover that Lamar sees sometimes in these first rounds.
Yeah, they're a quality team, but they're wildly. I think Wilson Elko is just wildly inconsistent. Mm-hmm. You see, 1 week they have a really good game, and then the next week they get blown out. Mm-hmm. This is a team that went down to Silver Bluff. They got blown out 52-24. Mm-hmm. Actually got blown out 2 weeks in a row. And then they finished their season off going to Denmark Olar and blowing them out. Yeah. So, it's kind of a, Jekyll and Hyde, what kind of team are you going to get with these guys? Lamar, they don't really play that game. They're good every week. Yeah,
and you got a lot of viewers right now. I want to give a shout out to JJ and Taylor, Haley, Kate, Eric, Rashodi. This is a region or a classification that John and I say every year that we don't know a ton about single A because there's just not as many really upstate 1A teams. Southside Christian is this year, I guess. But besides that, most of these teams don't really fall from what we usually consider the upstate, so we don't get to see a lot of these guys play. So if you guys have, feel free to chime in the comments. Tell us what you think. Well, we might be wrong about a team or right about a team, whatever. Certainly let us know who you guys like in some of these matchups. The last one here in Upper State, John, that we have is Wagner Sally and McCormick. This is going to be an interesting matchup to me. The way this works out with the region matchups and the at-larges and whatever, you actually got two seeds playing in this matchup here. Wagner Sally, I think, took kind of a step back from last year. Last year they were really a powerhouse, and people were, shocked when they lost late in the playoffs. But they've got, they've had some nice wins. They also got blown out by Blackville Hilda. That kind of scares me a little bit. Then you look at McCormick, pretty good offense. The Durant kid that's at Duke now, the running back, his little brother's playing for McCormick. They've got some talent there. This is going to be another, maybe my favorite game of the Upper State first round besides that Southside Christian C.A. Johnson game. Yeah, these are two really good teams. You look at Wagner Sally, as you said, that one blemish they have is Blackville Hilda. Mm-hmm. And then, you can say the same for McCormick. Their one loss was the Southside Christian. Outside of that, they took care of business. Mm-hmm. And they played some teams where, Dixie wasn't a bad team. They beat them pretty bad. They beat a Whitmire team that we see in the playoffs, beat them 45-6. They blew out Calhoun Falls, shut out Ware Shoals, blew out Fox Creek. These are two good teams that have been used to winning big all year. This should be another fun game, and this one, I don't know which way to go on this one. Yeah, I've got a comment here from Curtis saying that there's a good wide receiver matchup in that Williston Elko versus Lamar game, two of the best in Class 1A. That'll be something to watch out for for sure. I know that Lamar doesn't really throw it a ton, so I'm not sure how much he gets involved, with the offense there. The picks from Rashodi. Rashodi's got Southside Christian, Blackville, Lamar, and Wagner on the first round there. I think those are pretty good picks for sure. We'll give some advice here in a minute. John, let's move on to the lower state single A classification here and see what kind of matchups we've got there in the first round. We've got, leading it off here, Carver's Bay, the 1 seed out of Region 4 at 5-1. They're hosting another team with only one loss. That's Baptist Hill, the Region 7 number 2 team. Lakeview at undefeated 6-0. The number 1 seed out of Region 5 is playing Allendale Fairfax. Number 2 seed out of Region 6 at 5-1. Bamberg Earhart is 7-0. The 1 seed from Region 6 is hosting C.E. Murray. The 2 seed from Region 4 at 3-3. Whale Branch, the 1 seed out of Region 7 at 7-0, is hosting Johnsonville, the 2 seed out of Region 5 at 6-1. So I feel like, John, as we get down to this bottom half, you see a lot more 6-0, 7-0, 6-1 teams here in the lower state of Single A. This could be some great matchups here in Week 1.
Yeah, I think so, and I think we're going to see a little bit of an upset at the top of that bracket with Baptist Hill and Carver's Bay.
Yeah.
Baptist Hill, 1 point away from having an undefeated season. They got knocked off by the region winner, who we'll see at the bottom of the bracket, Whale Branch. They lost that game 21-20. They've had a great year. And, with 1A, we just don't talk about them a ton.
Yeah.
But then you look at their schedule and you go, oh, man, these guys, They kick some butt.
Yeah, and to kind of further that point here, Carver's Bay is coming off a loss to Georgetown. So,
and that's not a good-looking loss.
That's not a good loss there. They play a lot of defensive battles, which is interesting to see because Baptist Hill has a very balanced offense. They're a young team. They got a freshman quarterback they play a lot. I had his name written down here, but Gathers, I think. I read it kind of sloppily. But they've got a young team, so interesting to see how they're going to hold up going on the road to a tough environment there at Carver's Bay in round one. But that could certainly be an upset that we could see there. Anything else that jumps out at you, John? I know Lakeview is kind of the favorite. They're number one right now in single A. With the Ford kid at running back, very good team there. Another team to watch out for, Bamberg Earhart. They shut out Barnwell a couple weeks ago. Coach Crosby has that defense playing some really good ball right now. Besides that, John, the team that kind of I don't know a lot about. I mean, it's really that pod there, that Will Branch Johnsonville game. I don't know much about either one of those teams, but they're both come in at 7-0 and 6-1. So this is going to be a very interesting, lower state single A classification for sure.
Here's one thing you should know about Whale Branch. They played Big Battery Creek, beating by 12.
Ooh, shout out Terrence Ash.
I mean, that is, we've gotten to see a couple high class, low class relative this week. I know that sounds bad, but 3A, 4A, 5A. But Whale Branch knocking off a Battery Creek team, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. A 4A team beating a 5A team, that's one thing. But a 1A team stepping up and beating, a lot of these 1A teams, some of these schools struggle to field a whole roster.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal. That's and I like Whale Branch for that reason alone. That says a lot.
So, John, do you see any, looking back at the bracket here, do you see any really upsets? So let's look at the whole thing now. Upper lower state here, round one. Does anything really shock you, any upsets wise? And I guess who do you like kind of playing for the upper state, lower state final here in a couple weeks? And maybe who's even your single A state champion when it's all said and done?
I like Whale Branch to get through that lower side of the bracket, and I see them playing Lakeview for the lower state championship. I think Lakeview will get the Bobcats and Baptist Hill. I think they'll get them in the second round, but I think Lakeview is a bit better than them. Lakeview Whale Branch would be a heck of a ball game. I would go to Lakeview in this game.
Yeah, and it's something, John, like we mentioned, with only two teams making it from each region. We've got 1 seeds, we've got 2 seeds and whatnot, but they're not really upsets at this point, because really this is usually a round 3, round 4 matchup we're seeing here, and that's what we're going to be getting round 1 this year. So none of these are really upsets if a lower seed beats a higher seed, just because these teams are all very, very.
And we're talking about a 2 beating a 1. How big an upset is that?
Yeah,
really?
I would not be surprised if we talk the game we're talking about in Upper State. If C.A. Johnson beats Southside Christian, I would not be surprised this week.
I can see Blackville Hilda knocking off Southside Christian as well
in round 2. Yep. As far as the lower state, the first round, Baptist Hill, Carver's Bay, that could be a game that Baptist Hill could certainly win there. Besides that, I think it's going to stay kind of chalky there. And I think, we're looking for the lower state. I think we're looking at probably comes down to Lakeview. I think it's going to be Lakeview, Bamberg, Earhart. I like those two teams a lot.
That's fair.
I think Upper State, we're probably looking at Blackville, Hilda, and maybe Lamar again. That lower half of that top half of the bracket is kind of confusing to me there. I don't know who's going to come out of that with Lamar, Will Snooko, Wagner, Sally, McCormick. But I think I'm going to go, very early predictions here. Lakeview Gator state champion. I'm going to go ahead and call it, John.
I like it. Now, I think I agree with you there, but I think that we say Upper State, more so the Upper State. I think we see Southside knocking off, I don't have the bracket in front of me now.
Knocking off Lamar, maybe possibly?
Lamar.
Yep.
I think see Southside knock off Lamar for that side of it. But I like Lakeview over the
I like that too.
I'll tell you what, Lamar, I would not be surprised if Lamar made it.
That's right. Got a couple more viewers in. We got Tron in here, Chris, Mark's in here, Drew, Terrence, Will. I know Terrence is loving our Lakeview pick, homegrown kid there, Terrence Leggett. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to like and comment and share and tell your friends. Got a couple more comments here. Mark saying plus be interesting this year. I certainly agree. Rashody's got Carver's Bay, Lakeview, Bamberg, and Johnsonville winning round 1. So he's got Well Branch getting upset there.
By Johnsonville, okay.
In round 1. So he's certainly interesting to see if that happens. But I think that kind of wraps up 1A for us, Sean. Do you have any more comments on that bracket there before we move up to the 2A classification?
I think this is one of the I feel like in past years when we talk about 1A, we talk about, okay, well, this team's going to skate through their side of the bracket, and it's been more so of a, all right, here's who's probably going to meet for the championship, who we think is going to win. But this year, I think there's arguably 2 to 3 teams that have a very legitimate shot on either side of that bracket getting to the championship game.
You know, I think part of that, you know, like we mentioned, is some of these 2A teams dropping down to 1A made it a little more competitive. You know, and these were teams that, you know, Southside Christian was a team that was competitive in 2A last year. So,
very competitive.
You know, C.A. Johnson was not, but they're good this year. So we should see how that's going to turn out there. Once again, Kevin Thomas, John Epps, Moving the Chains, our 1A, 2A, and 3A playoff preview going on tonight. We've got our 4 and 5A coming up for you later in the week, so you don't want to miss that for sure. If you're watching us on Facebook, we appreciate you. Moving the Chains SC. Like, comment, hit that little heart button so you get your notifications when we go live every time. You know, share it, tell your friends. If you're not following us on Facebook, what are you doing? I don't know. But if you want to follow us on Twitter and Instagram, do that as well. We're at Movin' Chains. You know, we try to do some different things on each platform. Do some different pictures on Instagram, some different comments on Twitter. So definitely want you to follow us everywhere we are. We put the live video up on YouTube. So if you missed our show, you can watch it on Facebook later or on YouTube later. And if you're driving and we'll listen to something while you're working tomorrow, whatever it is, get the audio only version on Spotify or Google or Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. We're on there as well. So certainly check us out on all those spots there. And want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor here, the George Agency. Open enrollment's happening now. Whether you need Medicare, you're over 65 or on disability, maybe you're a seasonal worker, maybe you're employed, by yourself, and you need insurance from not through your company. Call these guys, thegeorgeagency.net, the George Agency on Facebook. Get a hold of Richard and George, or Richard and Bradley and Wayne at the George Agency, and they will certainly take care of you. Even if you're a business owner and need to offer for your whole company, they can do it there as well. So have them take care of you during open enrollment. It costs nothing to use them. It doesn't matter if you do or not, but you get an expert who can help you through the process if you call these guys. So certainly would recommend you giving those guys a shout there at the George Agency. John, let's move on to 2A here. This is going to be an interesting bracket as well as I pull that up here in just a second. Let's run through the upper state right quick. We've got Abbeville, the number 1 team in all of the polls, 7-0 out of Region 1. They'll be hosting Batesburg-Leesville, a team that's pretty good, John. They're in probably the toughest region in the state.
Absolutely.
Finishing 3-2. Chesney, 6-1. Then the Region 2 number 1 seed. We play Newberry out of that same tough region as Batesburg-Leesville. There's the Region 3 number 2 at 3-1. The Region 3 number 1 seed is Gray Collegiate at 6-0. They're hosting St. Joe's, Region 2 number 2 at 6. That seems like it's written wrong. Maybe not. St. Joe's at 6-1. North Central, number 1 out of Region 4 at 5-0, and is playing Christ Church at 5-2. Region 1 number 2 seed there. John, what jumps out at you right off the bat here in this region, this upper state half of the 2A bracket? Who do you like? Who do you not like? And then I'll kind of give you some stats as we go through it.
I think you could go pick. You got Abbeville, obviously, a favorite. Mm-hmm. But I think you can go to that one region and pick Batesburg-Leesville, Newberry, or Gray. Mm-hmm. Any one of those 3, I think they have a very, very legitimate shot. I'm very interested to see what kind of game we see out of Batesburg-Leesville and Abbeville in that first round game. Because that is, for a number 1 seed, Abbeville, and I say number 1 seed, number 1 on that side of the bracket, that's a tough draw. That is a tough draw.
This is a stat here for you, John. Abbeville has not allowed a single point to a team from South Carolina all year. They've only allowed 21 all year. Those all came to a school out of Asheville. So they are playing some great defense and offense. Burton, Haddon, and Johnson lead that rushing attack there out of A-Town. Batesburg-Leesville is a team that they've got some nice wins. They've got some tough losses. Marvin Gant, their running back, is a big-time player. I don't know if you guys saw the clip that we tweeted on Twitter this week. From Cam, our video guy down there. A heck of a little wide receiver screen. He takes to the house, shakes off 3 or 4 tackles. Big time run there from Marvin Gant. I think Abbeville's going to be too tough for them, John. But, it's a little tougher game than you usually see in the first round for a team like that, for sure. Another interesting matchup for me is that next one there, Chesney and Newberry. Chesney is a team that we have not talked a lot about this year, but they finished the season 6-1. Their one loss was last week to Woodruff, a 3A team. Besides that, they're undefeated. They've got a really high-powered offense there, so they've got a good team there. And then Newberry, a team that was really kind of bitten by the COVID bug, didn't get to play a lot of games this year. They finished at 3-1, They got a good QB, the Epps kid, good wide receiver, Zach Chalmers. That's going to be a really good ballgame there in round one, if you ask me, John.
Yeah, I think the biggest threat for this side of the bracket is Newberry getting a groove and getting to play some football consistently, because that certainly, I think, hurt them early on in the season. But, and you can say it about them, you can say it about a Gray, you can say it about Batesburg, Leesville. All three of these teams are pretty tested.
Yeah.
They, where you look at Chesney, not so much.
Yep.
They haven't had a really tough opponent like these other schools have. But you look at Gray.
I love that Gray Collegiate team, the War Eagles, man.
As tough of a schedule as they have had.
Yeah.
They have gone through.
They're good.
The O in the L column.
They've got the quarterback, Trey Robinson, the transfer from Batesburg, Leesville, really good player. One of my favorite players in the state is the running back, KZ Adams. He plays a little bit of both ways, but just is a big-time running back, gets some big-time offers lately. Their offensive line averages 290. We talk about that every week, how last year, it's such a crazy transition to me, because last year they were so air raid with Hunter Helms and those guys there. This year they flipped the script and they're run heavy. They're going to run you over and they're going to run at you all night long. So that's a team that has really been versatile, and I can really appreciate what they've done, because that's good coaching. You can't keep forcing one type of offense when your players can't do it. So I commend those guys for being able to kind of switch from one extreme to the other this year and having a really, really good season. That St. Joe's team they play 6-1, like we mentioned. They actually beat their rival Christchurch last week, and kind of a shocker to me. A big win for those guys. But then that last pod there, John, North Central and Christchurch. I don't know a ton about North Central. Can you kind of fill me in on some stuff about those guys? Because I don't know a whole lot about them, really.
Yeah, North Central is a much smaller school out in Kershaw County, Lancaster County area. And they're in a relatively tough region as well. Mm-hmm. They've got Sherrall in that region, and Andrew Jackson is in that region. So 3 teams out of that region making the playoffs. North Central won that region. They went undefeated. They defeated playoff team Andrew Jackson 24-10, and they knocked off Sherrall 24-14. North Central is just, they've been doing it right all year. They've been taking care of business. They're a strong team. And I think also Andrew Jackson, they're 2-2, but they're a tough team too. They've given everybody a tough fight. Same with Sherrall. This is a region, tough region, but the Batesburg, Leesville, Great Collegiate, Newberry region has gotten all of our attention.
Yep.
But this region right here is pretty doggone good too.
It is. And we'll get into some more of those here in the lower state. As you'll see, the first matchup there is the number 2 seed out of that region for it, Sherrall at 4-1. They'll be hosting Andrews, the 2 seed from Region 7 at 3-1. The number 1 seed out of Region 5. Usually this is Barnwell. This year it's Pillion. Pillion kind of pulled off that region championship there this year at 3-2. Philip Simmons, number 2 at Region 6 at 3-3, would play at Pillion. Woodland, the 1 seed at Region 6 at 5-1, is hosting Barnwell. 4-3, number 2 out of Region 5. Marion, the 1 seed out of Region 7, is hosting Andrew Jackson, the at-large out of that Region 4. Couple, things I noticed there, John, is that Region 4 with Sherrall and North Central and Andrew Jackson's kind of was weird ones that kind of got split. And if you're really looking at it, Sherrall and Andrew Jackson probably ended up being in a better spot than the 1 seed North Central, because they get to play the lower state, and they don't got to play Abbeville. They don't got to play Great Collegiate until the championship if they get there. So it may have been to an advantage of those guys to kind of get to play in this lower state half of the 2A bracket.
Absolutely. Funny
how that works out for sure, but it's a good look for Sherrall for sure. Definitely want to talk about that Pillion Philip Simmons game. I think that's going to be a really defensive battle, John. Both teams have played some low-scoring games all year. Pillion, their first time winning the region in quite a while.
6 years.
6 years, exactly. So that's going to be a great ball game. I'm thinking low-scoring, both teams in the teens maybe. Friday night, it'll be a great ball game there that Pillion will be hosting.
Yeah, I like Pillion in that game. Philip Simmons, hey, congrats on making the playoffs, but they're 3-3. They don't really excite me as far as the playoffs go. Pillion, on the other hand, great season they've had. Yeah, they only went 3-2 as well, but the fact that they beat a Barnwell at Barnwell, that's pretty impressive. I think I like them a little bit more.
Yeah, you go a little farther down in that bracket. Like I said, Barnwell, the 2 seed this year out of a team that's usually a perennial 2A power. Really struggling lately. They've lost a couple games. I think the Bamberg game, Blackville Hill, over the last few weeks. They've lost to Pillion earlier in the year. This team had to replace a lot. They lost their quarterback, lost their running back, lost their big-time linebacker last year, lost some big linemen last year. They really had to replace a ton. They've got the Ransom and Miller kids running the ball for them this year. I'm interested to see if they can really, get it going here in the playoffs. I know this is, like I said, they're always good, so it's hard to pick against them, but you just don't know. You don't feel confident with the way they played the last few weeks for sure.
Yeah, especially down the stretch.
Yep.
Been a little bit disappointing from their standards.
Yep. And you get to that last game there, Marion and Andrew Jackson. Marion's a team, they've got a lot of talent there. They got the TJ Sanders kid, the USC commit on the D-line. They've got a really good running back, Quali Crawford. They're averaging about 225 on the ground per game. Their passing offense is really non-existent. They really just run at you over and over again. John, looking back at this 2A bracket here, who do you like coming out of this? What are some potential upsets you see and things like that here in 2A?
I like the teams that are at the top and the bottom of this one. Mm-hmm. Sherrall and Andrew Jackson.
Okay.
I think the way that, as you said, the way that shakes out for Sherrall, getting to play on this side of the bracket, I think helps them out. And Andrew Jackson, I think they're just, they had a really good season last year, another good season this year. And I think I like either one of those teams, but that Barnwell team,
you never know, man.
You can't count them out.
Yep.
You can't count them out.
Yep. They're going to be well coached, 100%.
This could be one of the years where we look back and go, man, Barnwell got together during the playoffs. And they could, with this slate on this side, you could certainly see them doing that here. But I'm going to go Sherrall.
Okay. I like that.
Maybe it's a little bit of a fan pick. I've always been to playing games Sherrall.
Yeah.
Got some great athletes coming out of there. Jerron Brown.
Mm-hmm. Cliff Matthews.
Yeah. I like Sherrall on this side, but that's a bit of an upset, a little bit of a fly right now.
I like that pick because there's not a team that jumps out at me and I'm like, that's the favorite. There's really not. The one seeds are Pillion, Woodland, and Marion. I don't think any of those teams are good enough to win state. I don't think. I think that's probably a step down from the upper state. I love the hometown boys, the Marion Swamp Foxes. I obviously like to pick them, but I don't know what to think. Defense travels in the playoffs. So you think Pillion's got a good defense? Maybe they get hot.
Yeah.
I like your Sherrall pick a lot. I really do. I think I'm going to go. With Pillion out of the lower state.
Okay.
I think they're going to play. Man, that Gray Collegiate Abbeville game is going to be a whale of a ball game. I think I don't know about you, but I've got those teams meeting up there for upper state. That's going to be a great football game. I think in round one we see Newberry upset Chesney. I think that's really the only upset in the upper state we have there.
But I don't know that that's an upset.
That's true. Exactly. Like we said,
I think Vegas would like Newberry.
That's true. So I see Abbeville Gray for upper state, and I think I'm going to go with Pillion and maybe Barnwell again for lower state. And I think my favorite is so tough to pick against Abbeville because that team is so good, so good, so good.
But who are they playing?
That's the thing. I think Gray Collegiate.
Paul ain't play nobody.
Gray Collegiate is a little more tested, I think, than Abbeville. I'm gonna go with those guys because I love KZ Adams. I love those guys there at Gray Collegiate. I'm gonna pick them, but I'm probably gonna regret that.
Are we confident? Maybe some of the viewers can tell us more because I know we got some guys that watch a good bit of
2A football for sure.
Yeah, 2A football. How confident are we? Because I'm not super confident. Abbeville gets through that 2-game stretch where they're going to have to face Batesburg, Leesville, and then probably Newberry in the second round.
I think they do. Just from if you look at historical performances, Abbeville has been very, very good, and I think that they're going to be good again this year. But those are two very tough games back to back, no doubt about it. I think Batesburg, Leesville, we may be overrating a little bit because I think they didn't beat any of the big boys in that region. I think they beat Saluda, but they lost to Newberry and Gray. So maybe we're overrating those guys a hair. I don't really know.
But they were close games.
That's true. That Newberry team is good. That Newberry team is good for sure. But that'll be a lot of fun there, that classification wheel. I want to go shout out to Jay who's in here checking us out. Chris is in here. What's up, Chris? Joey's in here. King Ash. Brian's in here. Appreciate you guys for getting in. We got a lot of comments here on who likes who. Chris is Abbeville Gray for upper state and Sherrall Andrew Jackson for lower state. Rashody's got Sherrall, Pillion, Barnwell, Andrew Jackson. So he's got Marion getting upset in round one. I could see that for sure. So this is going to be a lot of fun. This classification is, John. This will be one that, in years past, it's really been Abbeville as a team. They're probably going to play Barnwell, and that's what it's going to be. And this year, we've got a few other teams that are going to have a little something to say about that for sure.
And, I'm just not convinced Newberry or Abbeville gets by Newberry.
Yeah.
And maybe, hey, there's nothing on the line here. I'd love to see Newberry beat them in the second round. I could see Gray Collegiate just wiping the floor with whoever the other side of the bracket brings to the table. Yeah. I think one thing to note, we were talking about, I think it's Woodland. So Woodland I was looking at. Woodland's lost one game this year. Abbeville beating 56-0.
And there's the problem, man. That's a one seed in the lower side.
That side of the bracket, it's, who can win that side, good for you. I don't think they're going to have anything for the championship game.
Yeah, we've got Dion Bethay in here making a comment saying that KZ Adams is the best running back in the state, says this is a great collegiate year. Dion, I'll tell you, KZ is very good. He may not be best in the state because there's a guy in Camden that's pretty good. There's a guy at May Rivers that's pretty good. But I'll give him top 5 100%. That kid can play some ball.
And there's a guy at Burns that just broke Lattimore's record.
That's true. He's a little younger.
There's a lot of good running backs.
And one very impressive thing about KZ Adams is he's played both ways. I think it was a big game against Oceanside or one of, maybe it was, I think it was Oceanside. It was one of the big games. He had a pick and ran for like 250 plus yards. So the kid can play. Brian Adams got in here, said he's got Williston upsetting Lamar in a shootout on round 1. So that would be interesting. We talked about that Williston team, how they had a lead on a good team, that Blackville Hilda team early. Yeah. Weren't quite able to hold on to the fourth quarter. That's a good team for sure. I want to give Michael a shout out for tuning in as well. So thank you guys for giving us a look here. If this is your first time watching us, we appreciate it. We do usually a weekly preview show. We do a weekly Friday night recap show after the games are over. So certainly like our page, hit that heart button in the top corner to subscribe. You get notifications when we go live. This week we'll be doing a preview show today for 1A, 2A, 3A. Thursday for 4A and 5A. And then Friday night we'll probably do our recap show, I'm assuming, again, for the scores from round 1 of the playoffs. So a lot of good stuff coming to you this week. So certainly tune in there. Follow us on Twitter as well at Movin Chains, Instagram Movin Chains as well. We put out some cool videos on both of those platforms. I know we shared one from Cam last week about a big play that Marvin Gant had at Vicksburg Leesville. You certainly got to check that out. And some cool pictures are on our Instagram page from our trip to TL Hannah and whatnot last week. And then definitely want to do that. Brian says, everyone make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Yes, that's it, Brian. You tell them, like, share, and subscribe. That's it, man. We appreciate you. And if you guys, if you're busy and don't want to watch the video, we do an audio-only version on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. You can check out. That'll be up later tonight as well for you to check in. So really appreciate y'all for doing that. John, let's move into 3A now. This every year is one of our favorite classifications, and I think this year is not going to be any different.
No, and it looks a little bit different this year than it has in the past. Some different names, some different schools in here, so it's going to be pretty fun.
Yes. So let's bring up 3A here. I'm going to run through the upper state with the records and whatnot here. The top game we have here is Fairfield Central, the 1 seed from Region 4 at 3-2. That's hosting Wren, the 2 seed from Region 1 at 6-1. Palmetto, the Region 2 number 1 seed at 5-2, is hosting Woodruff, the Region 3 number 2 seed at 4-2. Chapman, the number 1 out of Region 3 at 5-0, is hosting Powdersville, number 2 out of Region 2 at 5-2. Daniel, 6-0, Region 1 number 1 seed, is hosting Chester, Region 4 number 2 seed at 3-2. John, I'm going to tell you what jumps out at me right off the bat here. I think we were going to see some blowouts in the first round in this classification. We talked about earlier in the other ones how in 1A and 2A we're going to see some better games than we usually do in these first couple rounds. But I think this upper state 3A bracket, we may see some games get out of hand.
I see 2 that are most likely going to be over.
I think there's a chance all 4 of them get out of hand.
Very possible.
You look at that Fairfield Central Wren game, and that's one there where Wren is a 1 seed at 3-2. Fairfield Central is a 1 seed at 3-2. Wren's 6-1, and that one loss was to Daniel. And they've blown everybody else out besides that. Fairfield Central likes to run the ball a lot with Gaston and Barber. Wren, I do want to give a quick shout out to Coach Rick Tate, guys. 100th victory last week. I saw that.
Very nice.
Big win for those guys. They've got kind of a 3-headed attack there at running the ball with QB Staples, the running backs Young, and the running back Hill. And their defense has played really well lately. They gave a lot of points to Daniel.
And they gave up 30.
Yeah.
And Daniel's just a really good team. Daniel's defense manufactured some of that offense too.
Yep. And then after that, our last 2 weeks, we've had them as our game of the week against Palmetto and then Powdersville. 2 high-powered offenses. They really shut them both down. So that Wren team, I think, has got a good chance to beat Fairfield Central and maybe beat them handily there in round 1.
Yes, very possible. Fairfield Central has been a solid team. But I think they're just I think they're a step lower than Ren. I think Ren is, really, you could say Ren, they might be better than anybody else in the state, or at least the upper state, outside of Daniel.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot because there's some really good teams in the upstate.
That next one there, we've got Palmetto hosting Woodruff. I think this is one where the 2 seed is going to beat the 1 seed. That we gave some props to Palmetto and Powdersville this year, John. But really, if you look at it, that region 2 is just kind of a weak region compared to some of the other ones we see at 3A.
It is.
I think that while they're a 1 seed, I don't think they're better than Woodruff. Woodruff, we talked about how they beat a good Chesney team last week going into the playoffs. Woodruff, the Wolverines are a good football team. They're balanced on offense. The QB Tucker, the running back Dindy, and the wide receiver Scott. I think last week, I believe Dindy and Scott both had over 100 yards, one receiving, one pass, and one rushing, obviously. But they've got a very balanced offense there. They've got a good team. Palmetto's got the quarterback Altman, the wide receiver Jalal Dean. High-powered offense, but when they played a good team like Wren, they really got shut down a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, 64-13.
Not what you want to see in a big-time game there, for sure.
Their last 2 games, they've given up 64 and 52. Yep. BHP hanging 52 on them last week.
Yep. And you move down one there to Chapman and Powdersville. Powdersville also got blown out by Wren, and Chapman is probably better than Wren, if not on par with Wren, for sure. So I think Coach Cabinets and those guys, they lost a lot last year. They lost Colasardo, they lost the Smith kid at running back. But they got Settle at quarterback. Settle's a good player. The running back Carroll Parks. Really good defense led by the D lineman Gabe Watson, Colasardo's brother Andrew at linebacker, and then Camden Gray at linebacker as well. Really is made a very good defense for that team, and they're going to be tough to beat by anybody. And you look at that bottom matchup there, Daniel and Chester. In years past, it's probably a little bigger matchup than it is right now. Chester, I think, is having a little bit of a down year, it seems like, but still could be a good game, or Daniel could win by 25, 30 points.
I think Chester is going to give them a decent game. I don't know that it's going to be a one-score game, one-possession game. I think Chester's going to come to play. But again, this is another game where the Cyclones, they're just not on the same level as Daniel this year. I think one thing that is going to be interesting for Chapman, though, they haven't played in 2 weeks.
That's true.
3 weeks, rather.
That's true.
They haven't played last 2 weeks of the regular season. So we talked about this almost every week with one school is, hey, they haven't played a couple weeks, so they're going to be a little rusty.
Yep.
And at times we've seen a bit of rust. And Chapman's got a lot of they got a lot of room to work with. They can come out and be rusty and beat most teams. And I think they'll be fine in week 1. But that's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, Daniel led by the Pierman kid at quarterback. The Seegers guy plays good a little bit too. That offense is high-powered there, John. I want to make this comment on the Chester game. This will be the this will be the 6th time these 2 teams have played since 2006. There's been 3 blowouts and 2 close games, 27-24 in 08 and 09. So these teams are very familiar with each other in the playoffs. So this should be an interesting ball game for sure. Comment from Grant Stalliard here. He says Daniel Chapman's second round will be a shootout. Daniel is his favorite in the upper state. I think you may be on something there, Grant.
I agree with you,
We'll circle back to that here in a second. But as we look at the...
And you can take the up part out of there, too, for me.
That makes sense. We circle down to the lower state 3A bracket. We've got the Region 8, number 1 seed, Oceanside Collegiate at 5-1, hosting Aner, the Region 7, 2 seed at 5-1. Camden, Region 6's number 1 seed at 5-0, is hosting Brooklyn KC, Region 5's 2 seed at 3-2. Gilbert at 6-0, the 1 seed from Region 5 is hosting Lake City, the 3-1 team out of Region 6. Dillon, 5-0 out of Region 7, number 1 seed hosting Hanahan, number 2 out of Region 8 at 5-1. John, a lot of good football teams down there in that bottom half. I know we've talked a lot about how the upper state has some good teams in 3A, but so does the lower state.
I mean, you look at all the teams on the right, those are pretty high-quality teams. Mm-hmm. Okay, if you cover them up and you just look at those 4 on the left, there's nobody, I think, in the state that wants to play. And when I say nobody in the state, I'm not talking about 3A. I'm talking about 4A and 5A.
Can't prove that last week.
Yeah, you can ask people about that up around here. But all 4 of those teams are extremely dangerous.
Yes.
And what's really cool about this is, we flip the script to the upper state, and we say, okay, Daniel and Chapman, pretty good shot. Those are our 2 favorites. Mm-hmm. On this side, you pick any of those 4. Gilbert may be the number 4 out of that group, but Oceanside, Camden, and Dillon, you can make a strong case for all 3 of those teams.
Yep. A quick comment from Charles Miller says he's got Ren Daniel in upper state. I can certainly see that. But so back to the lower state here, John. That Oceanside team, we said they are, I believe it's 5-1. Yep. They're 1 loss, Gray Collegiate in overtime. So no shame there in that loss, even though it's a 2A, 3A. It doesn't really matter because last year Oceanside was 2A, so who really cares, right? Very, very good football team there. The quarterback Kepley, the running back Blue. They've got some good offense there. And I'll tell you what, this round 1 matchup with Ainer intrigues me because of Ainer's turtle offense.
It's like no other.
Yeah, last year they beat Dillon. The first time in years Dillon lost in the regular season. This year they lost to Dillon by like 6 points, I think it was.
Yeah, so 40-34 game.
So Ainer can play some teams tough. Oceanside's going to have to prepare for a team and an offense that they have seen nothing like all season long.
Yeah, Ainer, if they were playing just about anybody, I think Oceanside is just very, very well coached.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to be a group that's going to have their kids ready and understanding of, hey, this game is not going to be like any other game we've ever played. Mm-hmm. It's going to be frustrating at times. Yes. Those guys down at Ainer, they may hold the ball for 7 minutes on a single drive. But I think Oceanside, the level of coaching they have, I think they will be well prepared and they won't let it get in their head. I think Ainer's gotten in teams' heads before. Dillon, you could put on that list where when you get the ball, you feel like you got to score.
Yep.
Because you may only get the ball, 2 or 3 times a half. If Ainer's really rolling on offense, and more often than not, they are.
Yes. Yeah. And talking about good coaching there, Joe Call, the former Somerville coach, is over there at Oceanside doing a great job with those guys. A couple more comments I want to make on this 3A bracket here. If I can pull it back up. Yep, there we go. That Camden-Brooklyn KC game, I'm not very high on Brooklyn KC, and I really like this Camden team. I liked them a lot before last week, but I like them even more now with what they did to Burns. I know this isn't the typical Burns team as we've seen in years past, and Bobby Bentley with Willie Corn and Lattimore and those guys, but a 3A team in Camden traveled 2 hours up the interstate here to Burns and Duncan and beat Burns by a couple scores. Have a running back go for, 225, 240, whatever it was. 245 was Lane Jr. went for.
And 3 touchdowns.
That's impressive. They got, like we mentioned, Mr. Football finalist Willis Lane Jr. there at running back. The quarterback Pearson, he can run as well. He doesn't throw it a ton because that's not really their offense. Yeah. And the third running back, the Bracy Jr. kid, is a very good option there for those guys. So I think Camden is going to beat Brooklyn KC pretty handily there. The Gilbert Lake City game, that's one that I don't know a lot about, John. I know Gilbert comes in undefeated. I still don't know a ton about them. Lake City's a team that's only played 4 games. It's hard to know a lot about those guys. But, do you have any insight for me on those 2 teams there?
Well, you look at what Gilbert's done this year. Obviously, they haven't lost a game. They beat a tough Brooklyn KC team, 56-42 earlier on in the year. They a Strom Thurmond team who was up and down all year this year.
Yep.
But never an easy game for anybody. They beat Strom Thurmond on the road 28-21. And what I think is pretty interesting, a Lawrence team that's a step up in 4A, a Lawrence team that I saw this year, they're not great, but they're not
bad. They're not bad.
They whooped them. They beat them 49-21. I mean, Gilbert's the real deal. I think, again, I don't know that they're, Camden real deal or Oceanside, but they're very, very good. I think Gilbert wins this game. Lake City, don't know a ton about them. They're 3-1, but that one loss was a butt whooping to Camden. Camden beat about 48-20.
Yeah,
that was their one loss. Lake City, hey, they deserve to be there, deserve to be in the playoffs, but this is another game I think Gilbert's a little bit better. The second round of this bracket is going to be
Oh yeah. I do want to hit on that last game there for a second there that we'll see, and that's Dillon at 5-0 hosting Hanahan at 5-1. The Dillon team, so much talent there, John. The running back Nemo Squire, the receiver Maury Huggins and Bruce got another good receiver as well. Tons of offensive talent. Defense is always solid. But Hanahan comes in at 5-1. Can they put a scare in Dillon in round 1?
I think they can. They're a good team. We made fun of Battery Creek a little bit earlier. Mm-hmm. They shut out Battery Creek.
Okay. Not a good job, Terrence Ash. Come on, buddy.
Their one loss, they went to Oceanside. They lost 16-7.
Mm-hmm.
Close game, tough game. And, you lose a game 16-7. You got to think, okay, well, heck, that could go either way. Mm-hmm. A couple plays. Dabo always talks about, hey, there's 2 or 3 plays in the game that really change the outcome of the game. Probably what we had in a 16-7 game. Mm-hmm. So those guys got to feel like, hey, we want another shot at some big boys, and Dylan fits that bill. And Dylan, as good as Dylan is, I don't know that this is a Dylan team that is as good as they've been last couple of years.
They had to replace the quarterback, Jay Lester, and, I know they had a couple options there. And it's got to be hard this year to kind of break in a new quarterback because I feel like Dylan's another team that they play a week, they have a week off. They play a week. They couldn't really get any, I know they ended up playing 5 games, but they didn't really get any real, not momentum, but consistency, I guess.
Yeah,
with playing every week.
They didn't play week 1, then they played Ainer. And Ainer, it's like playing you look at college football when you play a Georgia Tech team that runs the option. It's just a different kind of week.
Yeah.
Same at this level when you play Ainer. Then they didn't play again. So it's just tough to really get in a rhythm for those guys. Luckily, they have played a string of games back to back to back to back.
And I think really we talk about their quarterback is a new guy, but really they are leaning on their rushing attack. Every time I look at the stats, Nemo Squire 3 touchdowns, Nemo Squire 5 touchdowns, whatever. So he's been a name that we've been hearing for the last couple of years. I think he's only I believe a junior now. I think he is, so he's still got a year of eligibility. But the kid can really run the ball, and they're kind of leaning on him a little more this year, which is nothing wrong with that at all. So there's just how that goes. Rashode's got Ainer in an upset over Oceanside Collegiate in round 1. Camden, Gilbert, and Dylan. John, this is one we've got to make some picks here because there's tons of good football. I'll tell you, I'll go first in the upper state. I think in round 2 we're going to see 2 2-seeds. Then we're going to see Wren and Woodruff play. Then we're going to see Chapman Daniel. I think we're going to see Oceanside and Camden. I think the bottom half stays kind of chalk: Oceanside, Camden, Dylan, and Gilbert. But after that,
well, in the first round,
yeah. I think that this bracket is really going to come down to 2 games, and they're not going to be even in the. I guess this will be the lower state. So the upper state is going to be round 2, Chapman and Daniel. That is the upper state final for me right there.
That's going to be an incredible game to go to.
Yeah. That's going to be a great ball game. I haven't seen Daniel. You have. I know Chapman, I've got my issues with those guys, but I do like Chapman. I think I'm going to take Daniel to win that. I think Daniel's going to come out of the upper state, and they'll probably end up playing maybe Wren again for the upper state final. We saw how that went the first time around. Can Wren change things up? I don't know. But I like those guys up there. And in the lower state, I think we're looking at Camden Dillon in the lower state final. I really do. And that's a game that I think Camden will be the home team with the way the bracket works out. Maybe it's hard to pick against Dillon. It always is, because they're always there. I don't know. You go ahead and then I'll make a pick on that game there.
So I think that Daniel Chapman game will be ultimately the upper state championship. Mm-hmm. But I think Wren, if they get another shot at Daniel, I don't think they beat them. Mm-hmm. But I think it's a game where Wren, they know what they need to do better at.
Yeah.
They just got to play. I think they got to be a little more aggressive. They got to take some more chances. Daniel's better than they are, so you got to take some chances. You got to be aggressive. But if they can get a couple mistakes, and it's high school football, the ball bounces in weird ways.
Yep.
You catch a couple breaks, and then it's a ball game.
Yep.
All of a sudden, I think they're good enough. If they catch Daniel on a bad night, they get upset. I don't think they will, but I think Daniel coming out of the upper state.
Yeah, and let me comment that before we go to the lower state is that we talk about Daniel and Wren. What kind of stinks for the rest of the 3As, these were 2 4A teams last year.
Yeah.
And they're taking a step down. Wren won the goddamn state championship last year in 4A. Now they're in 3A. So, a team like Chapman's like, man, my road just got a lot tougher. Like, same thing for Chester or a team, like a Woodruff or whatever. So, tough to see that for those guys. But lower state, who do you like?
I'd say I think I like Oceanside a lot, but I don't think they get through that second round.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they would get Camden in the second round, I think they lose that game. For a couple of reasons. Mm. Playing Ainer in the first round is going to be really tough. It's going to kind of beat you up.
Now, they will be at home.
Right.
So,
but then they're going to have to take a big road trip up to Camden.
I think they're at home against Camden.
So they're at home.
I believe so. Yes,
wow.
I believe so.
Interesting. Yes. Yeah, that's right, because they're at the top of the bracket.
Yep.
I do like Camden in that game. Camden's proved they can take a road trip and win big. I think Camden beats Daniel or Dillon.
Think so?
I think they beat them in the lower state. I think that Gilbert Dillon game will be a very, very good game. If Dillon, this is another game. If Dillon slips a little bit, Gilbert can win that game.
Yeah. And Gilbert's the team that I think they've had to play Dillon a couple times the last few years. Right? That's a matchup we've seen a lot in the playoffs. And Gilbert has had some games where they kind of get blown out. A couple times they kind of played them tough. So We should see how this one's going to shake out here, but that'll be a really, really fun classification 3A, Will, because we see a lot of potential winners on both sides of the bracket.
Yeah, and I think, especially at the high school level, if you can run the ball really well, that is a huge advantage. I'd rather, and really at all levels of football, especially high school, though, if you can run the ball well, I'd rather run the ball well than throw the ball well. The game we went to last week, neither team I thought was great on offense. Hillcrest could throw the ball better than Hannah. Hannah could run the ball a little bit better. And Hannah was the big winner. I think at the high school level, you can run the ball really well. You're set. You look at Camden Dillon. Dillon's best player, I would say, is Huggins Bruce, wide receiver.
Yep.
Cannon's best player.
Can he get into the ball? Who knows?
Yeah. Cannon's best player is Lane. Bruce, maybe he touched the ball 10 times a game. Lane, he touched the ball, I think, 40 times against Burns. So
and he could have carried it more. He was fine.
I think the fact that Camden's strength is the ground game, I think that puts them, and not that Dillon can't run the ball. I'm not saying that. But that is Camden's real strength, and I think that's kind of put them over the top. Now, a question, though. If Camden is to play Dillon for the state championship.
Daniel.
I think Daniel wins the game.
I think so, yeah.
I think Daniel wins the game.
And the thing we talk about 3A, I know we've kind of glossed over this, but, Chapman's still there. Chapman is a team that's played for the state championship several times. We won it a couple times already.
And they just absolutely destroyed Camden last year.
Yeah.
A good Camden team last year.
And that's, this year I feel like, that region 3 is not the strongest one in 3A. I don't think, they haven't had any really big wins this year as far as against, I don't think they played Union County this year, who's not even that great anyway, but.
They did. They hung 69 on them.
Union County not making the playoffs, so there's that. Maybe that's why. But, I know when we had the original schedules, they were scheduled to play, I think, Burns in week 1, or maybe it was Spartanburg.
I think Spartanburg, yeah.
So that would have told us a little bit more about these guys taking a step up to 5A. But, we know they're good, John. We just don't know how good. So we'll see how that works out.
Their best win this year is probably that Woodruff game, which was in week 1. That was a long time ago. They haven't played since October 23rd. We know they're good, but they just haven't been tested really.
Yeah.
And that Woodruff game was a blowout too.
Yeah.
That was a 45-14 game.
Yeah, got a comment from Charles saying Daniel Wren was a 7-point game going into the fourth quarter when they played, and Staples just get used to the Wren's offense. Yeah, the Staples kid has come on strong for them, and that, I know it's about the offense being good, but the defense is what I think is going to be the difference maker for Wren. That defense playing well right now for them.
And Charles, I still think Daniel controlled that game though. It was pretty low scoring until it got to the fourth quarter. Then it got a little bit out of hand. But I just felt like Daniel kind of controlled that game, really after the first quarter.
Yep.
Because I think Wren may have scored first in that game. They may have gone up 7-0 in that game. But then after that, Daniel just kind of took control.
I want to shout out, like I said, we got Charles viewing now. Georgia's in here. Cadillac's in here as well. Appreciate you guys checking us out. This is John Epps. I'm Kevin Thomas here. Moving the Chains, our 1A, 2A, 3A playoff preview special. We've run through all the brackets already, John. I'm going to give a quick shout out to our sponsor again, then we'll kind of make some more picks here. I want to shout out to Georgia AC. It's open enrollment right now going on. If you need insurance for yourself, if it's not offered through your business or through your job, or if you're 65 plus of disability, whatever it is, you need Medicare, they can help you out there as well. Give these guys a call. Check out Richard, Bradley, Wayne, and the crew. It doesn't cost you anything to use it. Basically, insurance is the same price, but they can just give you like an expert's knowledge of who you should use to this. So why not give them a call? Why not? You've got a limited window here. I think Medicare is December 15th, while regular insurance I think is December 1st. So don't miss out on that. You certainly get that taken care of. It's the Georgia AC on GeorgiaAC.net on the internet, and Georgia AC on Facebook as well. So check them out. While you're following and checking these out, check us out. Moving the Chains SC on Facebook. Got a lot of viewers tonight. We appreciate you guys for all the comments and the views. And I know that I think our 4A and 5A on Thursday is going to be even bigger, John. Hopefully so. If you guys, obviously John and I, we're based out of the upstate here, so we try to go to a lot of games, try to watch whatever games we can. But obviously we don't get to see every team play, especially when looking down at some of the lower classifications like a 1A or a 2A. That's just not as prevalent up here in the upstate, really. So,
and that's where the lower state is just stronger.
Yeah.
Year after year, it seems like.
Yep. So if you guys have been to those games and you've seen a team play, let us know how good they are, because we may not know. We can take what we read or the highlights we watch or the games, the little bit of film we do get to watch and comment on that, but we don't have a feel for how the game went sometimes. Well, you guys may do that, so don't be hesitant to comment and let us know for sure your thoughts, and like, share, hit the heart button, subscribe, and everything. You don't want to miss our playoff preview show on Thursday or our live show Friday night with the recap either. Also follow us on Twitter and Instagram, Movin the Chains. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on podcast networks, whether it's Google, Spotify, Apple. Get the audio-only version. Check us out there as well. So a lot of really cool things going on for you guys. A lot of really cool things coming. I think John and I are going to be on ESPN Upstate talking some playoff stuff later on this week as well. So that'll be a lot of fun to do. But this has been a fun show so far, John. Anything you want to kind of talk about before we end here? Maybe just more picks or just any kind of notes in general that you have?
I do want to give one shout out.
Yeah.
Friend of the show, Brian Lucas. His sister, many of you may not know, Coach Pacini, she is the head coach for the girls volleyball team at Powdersville. This past weekend, they won their third straight state championship.
That's impressive.
That's impressive. Very, very cool. Look for them to start renaming that gym here pretty soon. Got a little bit of a volleyball dynasty brewing here in the upstate. So support all sports, support all high school sports. And volleyball's a fun game to watch. It's exciting, it's fast-paced. So cool that a friend of the show is having some big-time success.
Yep. I was hoping that going into this show tonight that we would have some updates on the state championship location. I know the SCHSL had put out a statement saying they were going to let us know on Monday. Well, it's Monday. I didn't see it. Maybe I just missed it, but I'm pretty sure it didn't come out, John.
Volleyball was in Columbia.
Yeah.
I know, and this is also somewhat not related. Some big swim meets for the state were also held in Columbia a few weeks ago, too. So I would think the SCHL would do everything in their power to have those games in the Columbia area just so it's centrally located and you cut down on the travel and expenses for as many of the schools as you can.
Yeah, that's one thing that I was hoping that we would see today, like I mentioned, but obviously we didn't. So as soon as we do get that, we're going to post it on our Instagram page, our Twitter page, our Facebook page. So certainly keep an eye out for that, and hopefully we can comment on our next show. I'm hoping, but we'll see if it's out by then or not. John, before we get out of here, let's make let's make a pick. Do you want to just say who you think is going to play for state or your state champion? Because we usually do a state championship preview show as well, where we're actually going to pick that game. So do you want to just say maybe our two favorites in those brackets right now? Okay, let's do that. Let's do single A first. Let's pull that bracket one more time here for everybody to view. 1A, here's what we've got. John, who do you like playing for state here at a single A?
I'm going to go Southside versus Lakeview.
Okay. I like that. I think I'm going to take... I kind of want to go the same way. I think I already picked it earlier. I forgot who I picked. I picked Lakeview, and I think I picked Blackfield Hilda. I think I picked Lakeview and Blackfield Hilda. I think that's going to be a good matchup there between those two if we get to that point. If you guys are watching, feel free to tell us who you like. I know we've got some picks already from Rashodi and Chris and those guys. But 2A, John, let's take a look at that one. I'll go first in this one. This upper state, you may have the two best teams probably, maybe the three best teams. I'm going to go Gray Collegiate over Abbeville in the upper state. I think Gray Collegiate is going to play, I think, Pelion, maybe? I don't really know who I like there out of that lower state.
That lower state's hard to judge.
That's tough. I do want to make a comment. Rashodi says he's got Lamar and Lakeview for the title. I certainly see that. Certainly could see that. So, John, who do you like in 2A?
I'm going to go Gray as well, and I'm going to stick with my Sherrill pick.
Okay. Rashodi likes Abbeville and Sherrill, so certainly could see it happen. Right. No problem at all. That's
makes you feel better about the Sherrill pick.
Yeah, that one not surprised me. Like we talked about, if Sherrill ends up making a run, how smart was that of them to get that 2 seed to that 1 seed and be in that lower state instead of the upper state?
Quite the break there.
Yeah, that worked out well for them. And then looking at 3A here, John, I know we just talked about this one. I think you said you like Daniel and Dylan. Is that or Daniel and Camden? Tell me who you think you're liking there in 3A.
Yeah, I think Daniel Camden is going to be the one there, and whereas the lower state for 2A is looks like it might be pretty chalk.
Mm-hmm.
Lower state for 3A, the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Who knows what will happen once we get into the second round, and heck, even the first round. Yeah, I know we've got some Ainer love in the first round, so that's going to be really cool. But yeah, I like Daniel Camden.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go. I just changed my pick from earlier. I think I'm going to go Chapman now instead of Daniel, just because I don't know about Daniel. Something doesn't quite seem right to me. I don't know. I feel like maybe it's, in the playoffs last few years, they've had some expectations, and they didn't really follow through on them almost. We thought when they had Tyler Venable as a quarterback, this team win state, and they never quite really got there. I know they had a big upset at South Point a couple years ago in 4A, but they never really made that deep run to even the state final like we thought they would. So I'm gonna go Chapman, and I think Dillon. That's probably going to change here in a few weeks. I don't know.
That's the classic matchup.
Yeah, but that's what I'm going to go with. I'll run that back one more time there in 3A, and could be fun for sure. Doing a shout out Chad and Casser for tuning in as well and viewing us here, guys. If you're just tuning in now and you missed a show, you can obviously start it over at the beginning on Facebook, or you can watch it on YouTube later, or just listen to the audio-only version of the podcast as well. So whatever you want to do, we're there for you. Anything else, Sean, before we get out of here? I know that we've got a lot of cool stuff coming on Thursday, so I'm just excited to get this stuff rolling.
Yeah, there's going to be some awesome games.
Yeah.
Some really, really awesome games, especially in the lower classes, I think. Some really cool first-round games.
Mm-hmm.
Abbeville, Vicksburg, Leesville, Chesney, Newberry would be cool. Some really cool stuff. Southside, C, Johnson.
Yeah.
That might be a game I'd like to go to.
A lot of good football. A lot of good football for sure. And, like we keep mentioning, we're seeing some, really usually third and fourth round matchups in round one this year because of the shortened playoffs. So could be some really good football Friday night for sure. And you guys hit that heart button so you'll know when we go live on Thursday with our preview show, and then you'll know when we go live Friday night with all the scores for you. So certainly do that. I want to shout out all these guys for the comments. Lots of good comments, lots of good views. We appreciate that. All the shares and everything. We definitely want to grow this as much as we can. So tell all your friends and hopefully help us make this as big as we can. So for John Epps, I'm Kevin Thomas. This has been our 1A, 2A, and 3A playoff preview special on Moving the Chains. We'll see you guys Thursday night for 4A and 5A.